Okay, I'd like to demonstrate another tool from Flugelbauer Piano Supply. This is the 4-needle voicing tool. Again, it has a stainless steel tip and a nice wood handle, brass cap at the end. I want to demonstrate what that's for here out of the voicing kit. I have the voicing block. Of course, this would be set on the back checks of a piano. Drop the hammers down, and the back end of the voicing tool, this flat part of the brass cap, can be used to stomp on hammers with. The shape is nice, so it fits in your hand perfectly, and I have fairly large hands, but also the tip is a little shorter than most voicing tools. It's stainless, like I said, so it's sturdier. It's going to accommodate the needle better because it's stainless as opposed to being brass, something softer that the needle will wear or wobble in eventually. And that is an extremely important point of this tool, in that it holds the needle more secure. It won't allow it to bend, which eventually will lead to breaking. I have a hex wrench here, which I use to tighten the set screws that hold the needles in place. And if you'll notice, there is a set screw on both sides of the needle. So you snug one up you just bump it up to the needle on one side, and then you tighten the other side so that you're not bending the needle on the inside of the tool here and causing it to bend inside the tool as well. So here's some techniques that I would use in someone's home working on their piano. The first, most basic technique is deep shoulder needling. And on a piano hammer, of course, these are the shoulders, the sides of the hammer. And 4 needles work well with a high quality hammer. You may have to use less needles if you're working with a harder hammer. And these are nice hammers. These are Yamaha hammers, but I've needled them a little bit, so they're a little soft. But I would go in at 3 o'clock and again at 9 o'clock to do some shoulder needling. And the purpose for shoulder needling, or deep shoulder needling, is to give some cushion here on the shoulders of the hammer, so there's a little bit more flexibility. When the hammer hits the string, it will flex a little bit more in the shoulders and give it a little bit of an easier escape off the strings and open up the tone. So it's going to help increase sustain, and also increase, it will round out the tone or give it a little bit more volume. So here's a technique, the deep shoulder needling. I'm going to push the needles in, all 4 of them, into the hammer. And what I'll do is I will walk across the hammer and do it about 5, 6, 7, probably about 7 times across the width of the hammer. This may depend on how wide the hammer is. In this case, the hammers aren't that wide. They could be wider, but they're probably average width. So here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Now this can be a little hard, especially if the hammer is a hard hammer. One thing for needling on the front side of the hammer is that you can push the action while it's in the piano up against the stretcher, the piece of wood in front of the plate. So with the hammers blocked up, they won't go back in the piano, but they'll push up against that stretcher, and you can use that as leverage to push on those hammers as hard as you want. Same thing on the back side. I'll just push it in 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Of course, you want to stop and listen and see what this is doing so that you can judge what you're going to do as you go up the piano and continue your voicing techniques. So there's deep shoulder needling with a 4-needle Flugelbauer voicing tool.